everybody, my name is Danny Bovey, and I just felt inspired this summer to make some videos for you guys. Basically, I don't know where this is going necessarily, but my goal is just to be vulnerable, share my story of grief and victory and all that went in between that, which is kind of a lot. It's only been 6 months, but yeah, here we go. I'll just start by telling you my story. Not necessarily every detail because that would be a really long video, but the general idea. Last October, Nick, my husband, and I found out that we were expecting our first baby, which was extremely exciting. We live in a small town. Both of our parents live here, so, and all of my sisters, one of my sisters lives close enough to feel like it's here. And yeah, just like so much family around us, so exciting, like announcing it to everyone was so fun. And I'm a teacher here in town, so just getting to tell like all my classes, and yeah, everyone was just so excited. And it was kind of a mess. Like, I was teaching probably 10 plus hours every day. I teach music, and I did the musical in the fall, and it was just a lot. Like, it was pretty intense. Like, pretty sure you can ask any of my students, like, pregnancy brain is real. There would be times when I would just like forget what I was saying or play a completely wrong thing on the piano and just be like, well, don't know why that happened. But it was an adventure, and I think it really bonded the students and I, and all the, everyone. It's always exciting to like look forward to a new life. And yeah, first semester goes by, everything's good. Christmas break comes, everything's great. I got this shirt for Christmas, my mama bird shirt, and I'm wearing it today to honor the mama in me, which is something I've learned to do recently. Anyways, Christmas break goes by. It was super fun, like getting to be with the family. I'm definitely showing by now, because I have a really short torso, so it was like pretty soon I just started showing. A lot of my students guessed that I was pregnant before I even told them. And it was just, it was a great Christmas break. And then right when I got back to school for second semester, I went down to Denver with one student who got into the all-state choir. And when we were there, I just randomly felt off, like crampy, which is not a good sign probably, but I was like, well, maybe it's Braxton Hicks. Like, they say that around 20 weeks that happens. And so I kind of continued my day, and then Nick got there actually to Denver because we were gonna do like a date night while my student was doing his rehearsals. And I just like went into labor right there. So random, like no pre-signs. I ended up giving birth within 3 hours of going into those cramps. So it was like really sudden. Like, I was rushed to the hospital by Nick. Our car was in valet parking in Denver, which, if you guys know, it's like really hard to get that out. It's like down in the depths of Denver. And so we like told him I was in labor, and he's like, are you ready to have a baby? Like, is it time? And I was like, no, like I'm only halfway through my pregnancy. And I was like crying and on the floor, and it was just like really traumatic. Nick is like the most positive person in the world. Like, he just was like, this isn't what we think it is. Like, we get there and they'll say like, you know, it's okay, we're gonna be okay. And just like the whole drive, I was thinking, this is bad, this is really bad, this is really, really bad. Which, I mean, in my head, I'm like, well, maybe I should have stayed positive, but I don't think that would have changed anything. I think I was just preparing myself for what came. Nick, who was not experiencing the actual like contractions, had a lot of hope, I think, just because he didn't really maybe physically understand what was happening, because like all I wanted to do was push. Like, it was just like the weirdest feeling because it was so fast. Like, literally an hour after I started getting cramps, I was like ready to push, and it was just like scary because I didn't know what was happening. So we get to the hospital, and it happens to be like the best hospital in Colorado for preterm labor. So thank God for that, because they just had like all the equipment ready. The nurses were so nice. I get there and they're like, yep, she's contracting every couple minutes. It looks like you're gonna have this baby. And it was just like so scary because we didn't even know the gender yet. We weren't prepared at all for the fact that basically when they say you're gonna have the baby, it's not a good thing. It's like your baby's not going to survive the night. Like, let me just tell you, it's happening. Your body is contracting. It's gonna happen unless we can push it back in, stop the contractions with hormones, and sew you up so that it doesn't come out. He doesn't come out. It being like the water sac, which was actually coming out. Like a couple minutes later, literally, my water broke and I gave birth to our son, Charles. His full name is Charles Thomas Bovey, named after Nick's grandpa and my grandpa, one of them. And yeah, it was crazy and horrible. And I've never felt so much like emptiness. It was very, like, I couldn't even cry at the time, at the very moment, because like I was in so much shock. Like 3 hours, like what? I've heard labors going like really long. I was not prepared for this, and there was a baby on my chest, and I was just like, I think they put drugs in my IV because I was just like, what is happening? And Nick is just like sobbing. I can just feel like his tears like hitting my face, and like, ugh, it's horrible. He passed away about 2.5 hours after he was born, in my arms, and basically lived his entire life in me and Nick's arms. And then after he passed is when my family came and held him, and it was honestly so holy. Like the moments when we were all in the hospital room, and like you can't feel anything but just like peace when you're in the presence of Charles. Like, it's true. Like, it felt like there's so many things that I felt. Like, looking at him, I just couldn't help but feel so much love and so much thankfulness. It's so weird. I don't know, like, why would you feel thankful in that moment? But like, I just did. It's so hard to explain. Like, I just felt like, thank you, God, for giving me this boy for 2.5 hours. Like, that's, and then on the other side of that, I was like, just so gripped with loss. Like, all of those dreams I had of this summer, gone. Like, I didn't even know that at the time. I was just like trying to deal with each minute of how I was feeling. And then like, as the minutes passed and like finally we said goodbye to him, left the hospital, it turned into like, oh my gosh, I have to plan a memorial for my own firstborn. I have to call my friends and tell them. I have to like deal with the fact that my stomach is flat now and I have to go back to school like sometime, I don't know when. I have to go back to school and face hundreds of students that are gonna feel this loss too. And like, how do I do that? I just want to curl up in a ball and like never go back. Like, that's kind of how I felt really strongly. The doctors, after everything happened, came in to talk to me about why it happened. Have diagnosed me with incompetent cervix, which is such a horrible name. Biggest fear for some people that just like want to have a baby like me, to be incompetent, like to be named incompetent cervix, like that sucks. So, but there's hope. So if anyone out there that's watching this has incompetent cervix, we all know that like you don't know you have it until it's like too late. Or maybe there's some people out there that like they like had to do the cerclage like at the last minute and it saved their baby, but it was like really stressful. You can't tell you have it until it's about 20 weeks and the baby just gets too heavy your cervix can't hold it shut. Like it just can't stay tight and like literally just slips out of you. But the hope is that there is this thing called a cerclage, which is like a stitch, and it can prevent that from happening again. So yeah, that's why it happened. It doesn't really help. It didn't really help me because like basically it made me feel very like guilty because, oh well, this, like, it wasn't a miscarriage. The baby Charles, he was fine. Like he was literally kicking an hour before, like his heartbeat was perfect, and he was just like forced into the world by me. And so that's been part of this grief healing journey too, is just like I didn't choose this life. Like I didn't choose to have this, so I can't be taking blame for my body having this, because that's just like so debilitating, counterproductive. It's not my fault. It sucks, but yeah, that's kind of what I've come to terms with, is just like I can't focus on that, otherwise I'll just get really down on myself. And yeah, I wrote his story, my birth story, and Nick wrote his side of the story. And so if you really, I mean, I would encourage, if you are interested, to read those, because it's a lot more in depth about like, because we literally wrote those the day after we left the hospital. Like those are fresh, and you can find those at there'sgoodinallthings.com. I will share that so you can just get like a little more detail if you want. You don't have to. This video series, because this is gonna be a long video, I'm sure already. I'm gonna have to make this into like many videos, because what came after going home, planning the memorial, we had the most beautiful memorial for him. Like it was packed with people. It was so beautiful, and just like honoring this little baby who was 10 inches long, 10 ounces. He was our perfect 10, and just honoring that perfect spirit in him was just so like I think it was so healing for me to be like, we honored him. Like the community, hundreds of people came to honor this baby. And I'm feeling like basically I like love unborn babies, or babies that didn't get to live their full, what we might think as their full life. But it's kind of dawning on me, like Charles lived his life purpose here. Like I believe that, and I will have time with him later. I believe that 100%. And I just want to honor any moms that are watching this video that have experienced this horrible loss of your own child way before you felt like it was time. I just want to honor those babies, and yeah, that's like a heart I have right now. Okay, so I am going to stop there probably right now, and then give a video later about the horrors that came after Charles passed, and teaching after that, and basically what I thought was like, I'm gonna die any day moments. Yeah, it was pretty intense. So thank you for watching this. I'm feeling like this is gonna be a good thing, and I will keep them coming, because that's just the story before I started this grief process, and this grief process has been crazy. Like so much fear, anxiety, panic, physical symptoms, spiritual warfare, and everything else in between probably. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching this, and I will see you in a couple, maybe like a week. I'll put out the next one, okay?